If you're sick of feeling tired all the time, being broke, and feeling lazy and unproductive and want a complete rebrand, then this video is gonna give you 5 unconventional habits to make you your healthiest, wealthiest, and happiest self in 2025. If you're new here, hi, my name is Tika, and I quit my corporate job last year to pursue a life on my own terms. On this channel, I share everything to do with self-improvement to help you live your healthiest, wealthiest, and most fulfilling life. So if that sounds like your jam, then do subscribe. Firstly, everyone usually sets an alarm for when they wake up, but what you should do instead is set an alarm for when you go to bed. This really drastically improved my sleep hygiene and my sleep discipline, and what I'll do is I'll set an alarm for 8:45 p.m. That's when I'll dim down all the lights and I will start reading my book or just watching something to put myself into a more relaxed state. And then I'll set a second alarm at 10:30, which is when I actually have to get into bed and start getting to sleep. That is when my head hits the pillow, and this helps me to ensure that by 11 p.m. I'm more or less asleep. And because my body naturally wants to wake up after about 7 or 8 hours of sleep, I will end up waking up the next day at like 6 or 7 a.m. And often I don't even need to set an alarm. So to be fair, if you set an alarm for when you sleep, you don't need to set one for when you wake up because your body will naturally want to wake up after a certain period of time. I put this as the first unconventional habit because good sleep is one of those domino factors that has a positive knock-on effect on several other key areas of life. If you get better sleep, then you're not tired. That means you can focus better, and then that also means that you'll be more productive the next day. You'll also have less sugar cravings, and you'll reduce the tendency to overeat as well, because often when you are hungry and you're snackish and you're craving food, it's often because you're not getting enough sleep. Your performance in the gym improves, and also if you get better sleep, you will be in a better mood, which means you'll be a better friend, a better partner, a better coworker, and you get the picture. The second habit is micro-learning, and this is hands down the number one habit which has made me the most money in my life. Micro-learning helped me to start a YouTube channel, and it helped me to start multiple side hustles in the past. It helped me to start my first business. It also taught me a lot about personal finance and investing and how to handle my money. And of course, it's taught me several other things not related to money, like how to get in shape, how to eat healthy, and things like that. Micro-learning looks like listening to an audiobook for 45 minutes whilst I meal prep, or maybe listening to a podcast whilst I'm on the way to work for 20 minutes. People often have this misconception that learning needs to be at a desk where you are in pure uninterrupted silence and you've got 3 to 4 hours of time for you to be doing fully focused study work. But in today's world where everyone is so time-starved, no one has the luxury to be learning in that way. But does that mean that just because you don't have huge chunks of time throughout the week that you shouldn't be trying to better yourself or pick up a new skill? Of course not. You gotta work with the schedule that you have and sprinkle in chunks of micro-learning throughout the week where you can. I find that micro-learning is great for when I'm doing idle work, so things like doing my laundry or meal prepping or doing some house chores. And this is something that I like to call task pairing, where you task a mental activity with a physical activity. Because we all know that multitasking is bad, because doing one task will take your focus away from doing another task well. And so you end up not doing either tasks effectively. But if you do task pairing, then you're pairing a physical activity with a mental activity, meaning that it doesn't impact one another. So one great example would be when I'm doing my cardio on the treadmill and doing some incline walking. That's when I will listen to a podcast, listen to an audiobook, or just use that time to use my brain and learn something new. The third micro habit is to move your body daily. And no, I do not mean hitting the gym hard 7 days a week. This is balancing your more intense forms of exercise, like strength training 3 to 4 times a week, with less intense forms of exercise that you do more frequently, such as walking. Walking every day and getting extra steps in is so important for your mental and physical well-being, and I cannot stress how much this has transformed my life, especially in terms of increasing the clarity of my thinking, increasing my focus, bettering my mood, helping me to feel more energized. And being outside, especially when it's a beautiful sunny day, it just completely lifts you up. So what I like to do is on my lunch breaks, I'll have 30 minutes of eating and then 30 minutes of just walking around, taking in the sunlight and just taking in some fresh air. And if I'm on the tram, what I'll do is I'll just get off not at the stop that's closest to where I need to get to, but rather the stop before that or 2 stops before that. And that's helped me so much in terms of getting extra steps throughout the week. And another thing that I always do, if I'm presented with the option of taking the stairs or taking the escalator or elevator, then I will always pick the stairs. Lastly, if it's during the weekends and I have to to get to town or get to somewhere and I have some time to spare, I will just opt to walk the entire way from home as opposed to taking public transport. And even if it is like a 45-minute walk, I'll do it because I've got the time and I just want to get my steps in. The next habit is something that I like to call the 3-glass rule. And this has been the biggest hack in terms of staying in shape and losing weight. Because more often than not, when you're feeling really hungry or you're feeling snackish or you're craving something sweet, or even if you're feeling really tired and need a caffeine fix, more often than not, it's because you're just dehydrated. And I didn't used to be this way until very recently, but sometimes I'll just forget to drink water completely. And what has helped me to ensure that I get my daily intake is the 3-glass rule. So basically what this is every time I have a meal, I will just have a glass of water right before eating, one during my meal, and one just after finishing my meal. And this has helped me so much with preventing me from overeating and snacking when I'm really not that hungry. I'd also like to highlight this misconception that a lot of people have, which is that cardio is the best way to lose weight and to stay in shape. This couldn't be farther from the truth because you can only do so much activity during the day to burn off calories. The most effective way is actually to take care of your diet. And there was this one video on YouTube that I watched like a couple years ago of this one fitness influencer who wanted to prove this point that you can't out-train a bad diet. And what he essentially did was he had like this massive McDonald's set meal, which was like 2,000 to 3,000 calories or something. And then what he tried to do was he tried to burn off those calories by doing cardio for the rest of the day. And he wanted to see like how much cardio he would have to do to burn off just that one McDonald's meal. And I remember he was hitting the gym like 5 times a day. He did like intense running on the treadmill for an hour. He was on the Stairmaster for like another 45 minutes. And then he had another session where he was doing like really intense HIIT cardio. And he had to do that multiple times a day just to burn off that one meal. And he was just trying to illustrate the point that you cannot out-train a bad diet. The best way to lose weight and to stay in shape is not to try and burn off all the calories that you've already consumed. It's just basically not consuming those calories in the first place. The next habit, which is not too unconventional, I would say, but it's unconventional in the sense where like most people don't really do this, and that is using some app block app. Those apps that prevent you from entering your social media apps like Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, and things like that. The harsh reality is that your phone is sucking away your most precious resource. And no, I'm not talking about your money. I'm talking about your time. Your time is way more precious because time can be used to make money. And all of us are being robbed in broad daylight by Instagram, TikTok, Facebook. When I first started using app blocker, it honestly boosted my productivity by miles. And it has been so great for my mental health and body dysmorphia because you're not constantly seeing other people's curated perfect lives on social media and comparing it to your day-to-day life and your day-to-day struggles. And by not engaging in these apps, it's no longer taking up all this positive energy that I have in me that I could otherwise deploy into doing activities that would move the needle towards my goals or to help me put energy into things that matter most to me. So what I would recommend anyone to do is just to download any sort of app blocking app. There's a bunch out there, and what you can do is just set it during your focus hours during the day. So let's say if you are working between 10 a.m. and 6 p.m. every day, set your blocker to be during those hours. For me, I started doing that, but now I just have it on all the time, regardless of whether it's in my working focused hours or during my after work leisure hours. But I would like to mention a caveat here, which is that social media is not inherently bad. It's not always a negative thing, and it really depends on how you are using it. If you're just doom scrolling, then it is just wasting your time that you could otherwise use to be working towards your goals. Whereas if you're using social media to learn stuff, or if you're using it to create content and bring value into the world, then that's a whole different story. Or to stay connected with loved ones that are really far away from you, then hell yeah, go for it. That's a positive way to use social media. So those are the 5 unconventional habits that will help make 2025 your best year yet. And if you guys have any habits that you are planning to take up this year, or you're planning to continue this year, then I would love to know what those are in the comments below, so let me know. As always, take care and see you in the next video.